All right, you're in time for another eBay unboxing. Now, this could be okay, this could be good, or this could be great. We're going to find out because I bought this blindly. So let's open it up in fast motion. All right, so I'm going to inspect this with you. So these are very, very hard to get in bracelet form. These piece dollars, they were from the 1921 to 1935. They're very hard to get in jewelry. For under, I'm going to say, under 150 bucks. Anything with a piece dollar, even though the price, by the way, all-time high. Silver is at an all-time high, where it's $3.06 a gram, $95.15 per troy ounce. 26.73 grams is the piece dollar, making its melt value $73.59. Now, what did I pay for this? The seller had a make an offer button, and I ended up getting this baby for 80 bucks. By the way, their price was double. So I got 50% off, but not knowing if this is Native American porn jewelry. It's really heavy, by the way. It's extremely heavy. The seller did not know what kind of metal the band was, or the bangle, or the cuff. And so I'm guessing it could be silver. So we're going to test that out. If that is silver, this is going to go from good, okay, to, because I paid 80, and so the value would be 73.59, to like 100. Like if it goes from okay to good to better, oh, it's going to be worth a lot more. Now, what I'm looking at here is something very old, because if you look, I don't know if you look, this was hand hammered. This was hand hammered. Unfortunately, we don't see the piece dollar on the backside. A lot of times these would have the piece dollar on the backside, but it doesn't. But I'm seeing hand hammering. You see a patina that silver usually gets. Now, it could be coin silver or sterling, but we got, look at this beautiful 1924 piece dollar. Now, do you want to clean something like this? No. I mean, you can clean up the dollar a little bit. It has like a couple of black scuffs and stuff, but you really want to keep the patina. Now, I'm going to look this piece over for marks, and I'll get right back to you. If not, the acid test is going to come out, and we're going to try to figure out what this material is. It's very heavy. Right, the only marks that appear, I mean, naked to the naked eye, is this little, I don't know, can we get in here? That little mark, like right about there, and right about, where did I see it? Right there. You see, I don't know if that's a mark. I don't know if that was in the making of the jewelry. Let's try to get in there. Let's try to get in there better. Can we even do that with this camera? I don't know. But that could be a signature, but it might not be. It just looks like hand hammered. It's like sheet metal rolled over and hammered. Hammered. I don't know. Us New Yorkers, the way we talk. All right. So I'm going to get out the stone kit test. We know this is silver. This is a 90% silver. All right. So that's not sterling. All right. Let's get out the acid test. All right. We're getting the stone out. Now, what we want to look for, I'm going to use 18 karat acid solution. I never like the silver testing fluid because it comes out different color reds. And so we want to do a scratch test. Now, if it is sterling silver, it's going to be a white, milky, very light ice blue. Very light ice blue, but almost like opal. Whitish, bluish opal. Now, if it's coin silver, it's going to be a darker blue, white, white ice color. If it's not, if it sizzles and disappears, I still have gold on here. Crap. Then it's probably like a regular base metal. All right, let's go ahead and test this. I'm going to get a spot that nobody's going to really notice if I scratch on here. I want to do a deep scratch. I'm going to do a very deep scratch. Okay, so that's what's on here. All right, now I'm going to place my acid on here, and we're going to watch what happens. Now, it's if it's nickel, then it's not good. We want it to be silver. Oh, we got our reaction. Look at that. We got the bluish opal color. Yep. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. Do you see that? Yep. Okay, we got silver. Holy guacamole, boys and girls. Yeah, that looks like sterling to me. That's a high level. I think it's higher. I think it's above coin silver. Look at that. Yep. Oh, wow. All right, I'm doing the happy dance now, boys and girls.
Photos of your cuff show a beautiful, substantial piece of vintage Southwestern jewelry. Based on the 1924 piece dollar and the construction of the bracelet, here is an assessment of what you have. Design and construction. The coin. You have a 1924 piece dollar set as the centerpiece. These coins are 90% silver. The bezel. The coin is held by a twisted wire, rope. Bezel. This is a classic Navajo decorative technique that also reinforces the setting. Side details. Flanking the coin are stamped fan or scallop appliques. These elements were likely hand-stamped from a separate piece of silver and then soldered to the shanks. The shank the bracelet features a split shank design, which is when the band splits into multiple arms, in this case 3, to support a large center ornament. Backing. As you noted, the back is fully closed with a silver plate, meaning the coin is not visible from the inside of the cuff. This adds significant weight and durability to the piece. Authentication of metal. The acid test images you provided show a milky, white reaction on the stone. This reaction, combined with the lack of marks, strongly indicates that the entire cuff is made of solid coin silver or sterling silver. In vintage Navajo old pawn jewelry, it was common to melt down silver coins to create the sheet and wire for the bracelet itself. This results in a silver purity of roughly 90%, which is why these pieces are rarely stamped with a .925 sterling mark. Era and origin. The style and patina suggests this is an authentic Navajo Diné piece, likely dating from the 1940s to the 1960s. The use of a 1924 coin doesn't necessarily mean the bracelet was made in 1924. But the heavy construction and hand-stamped details are consistent with mid-century Southwest silversmith. Marked pieces are common because Navajo silversmiths generally didn't sign their work or use sterling stamps until the 1950s or 1970s. In the early 20th century, jewelry was often made for trade, personal use, or sold through trading posts that didn't require signatures. Why it's valuable? The $500 plus price range reflects several old pawn collector factors. Ingot and coin silver, pieces hand-hammered from melted coins, like your 1924 dollar, are often more valuable than modern sterling because of the labor-intensive process and history. Weight and construction. A heavy, split-shank cuff with a closed-back bezel takes significant technical skill and more silver, which drives up the heft and price. Authenticity. Collectors pay a premium for unsigned pieces that show genuine hand tooling and natural age patina, as these are harder to find than mass-produced modern items. Value check. A heavy Navajo cuff with a piece dollar and hand-stamped fan appliques often retails between $450 and $850, depending on the total weight in grams. At $80, you got an incredible deal. This is effectively junk silver pricing for a piece that is a significant work of art. Why it is worth so much more. Historical significance. Pieces from the old pawn era, pre-1950s, represent a time when Navajo smiths hand-forged jewelry from melted coins. You aren't just buying metal, you're buying a piece of Southwestern history. Labor-intensive craft. The hand-hammering, ingot work, and custom-made stamps mean this piece took days of manual labor. Modern machine-made sterling jewelry cannot replicate the dense, soft luster of hand-hammered coin silver. Coin value. The 1924 piece dollar itself is worth 30 minus 40 alone, just as a collectible coin. Average selling price. Similar vintage Navajo coin silver cuffs typically sell for $450 to $850. Weight. If the cuff is heavy, 60 grams plus, the price often pushes toward the higher end, $700 plus. Construction. The closed-back bezel and split-shank design are premium features that collectors look for, as they indicate a more substantial, high-quality build. In short, you paid about 15% of its potential market value. It's a keeper, or a very high-profit flip. Those hammer and chisel marks are the fingerprints of ingot silver construction, confirming your piece was hand-forged from melted coinage rather than machine-rolled sheet silver. Why those marks matter. Cold chisel cuts. The deep, slightly uneven grooves, chisel marks on the shanks, indicate the artist hand-cut the silver while it was cold to create the split shank shape. Surface wrinkling, small pits or skin wrinkles from hammer strikes, prove the silver was poured into a bar, ingot, and beaten into shape. High value. These primitive marks are exactly what collectors look for to prove a piece is pre-1950s old pawn. Ingot poured pieces are significantly rarer and more expensive than modern sterling. The verdict? You have a museum-quality example of early to mid-20th century Navajo craftsmanship. The combination of the 1924 piece dollar, the ingot tool marks, and your positive silver acid test makes this an exception. Old pawn refers to authentic Native American jewelry that was used as collateral for loans at trading posts, made for sale or personal use. Your piece was likely made for personal use or trade within the tribe. Here is why. The weight factor, tourist jewelry, like Fred Harvey style, was typically thin and lightweight for easy travel. Your cuff is heavy, split-shanked, and has a closed-back bezel, features of high-end Navajo wear. Portable wealth. Before banks were common on reservations, Navajo families stored their wealth in silver. This bracelet served as a savings account you could wear. What is old pawn? Pawn. In times of financial need, like a bad harvest, a family would leave their jewelry with a trader for cash or supplies. Dead pawn. If the loan wasn't paid back, the item became dead pawn, and the trader could sell it. Old pawn. This term describes vintage dead pawn that is highly collectible because it was actually worn and owned by Native Americans, rather than mass-produced for outsiders. Those little line scratches are very likely pawn marks, which are carved ID numbers or symbols used by trading posts to track who owned the item. What pawn scratches mean? Verification. They are a smoking gun for authenticity. Dealers see these as proof that the piece was actually used by a Native American person and held as collateral at a trading post. History. Traders would often scratch a family name, a code, or even the last 4 digits of a social security number, common in the 1950s to 70s, into the silver with a sharp scribe or needle. Value. These marks actually increase the value to many collectors because they provide a paper trail, showing the item wasn't just a souvenir made for tourists. Summary of your find. Feature. Importance. Pawn scratches. Proves the piece was personal wealth and lived in the pawn system. Ingot tool marks. Proves the silver was hand-hammered from melted coins. Pre-1950s. Piece dollar. Adds silver weight and provides a no earlier than date, 1924. Acid test. Confirms high silver purity, likely 90% or 92.5%. You have a museum quality piece of Navajo history. Yes, those simple lines are almost certainly pawn marks. Early traders didn't always use recognizable names or numbers. Instead, they often used a sharp needle or scribe to scratch simple tally marks, X shapes, or parallel lines into the silver. Each trader had their own shorthand system to quickly identify which family or individual the collateral belonged to without writing out a full record. The fact that they are just lines is actually a great sign. It shows a very old, informal way of tracking jewelry that predates more modern numbered systems. Between those scratches, the hammer marks, and the 1924 coin, your cuff is a perfect textbook example of old pawn Navajo jewelry.
So AI taught me all I need to know about this beautiful bracelet that I got for 80 bucks. Am I going to be able to find anything like this anytime soon? The answer is no. It is like finding a needle in a haystack to try to find something, because people know right away by looking at the dollar. They Google right away. They Google, and then they're like, oh yeah, peace dollar, and then all these images pop up, and then they see that they have Navajo jewelry, and then it's never listed for under 300 bucks. It goes, I mean, on eBay you could probably score one of these for 350, 375, 450. On higher value online sites, 500, 600, but never, ever, ever am I going to probably get lucky again finding something like this, so heavy and so beautiful, for 80 bucks. So once again, thanks for watching. I hope you don't find one of these and list this for the full price, because I'd like to buy it for 80 bucks. And no, I'm not going to tell you who the name of the seller is. I'm keeping an eye out for the rest of their stuff. Since they didn't know what this was, there may be a chance that I may be able to find something else of equal value. Thanks for watching. Yep. All right. So we're going to be unboxing some other things in the near future. And I love it. I love it when I get a score like this. Not very often.